If you're looking to start a photography business in 2024 or beyond, here are 5 things to know about starting a photography business before you get started. Hi, I'm Katie. I've been a photographer for over 15 years and I've been running a business for all of those years. And so I've been through all of the mistakes, I've made all of the mistakes, and I want you to avoid as many mistakes and to take the easy way. In this video, I'll be talking about the 5 things you should know when you're starting a photography business. Let's go. So number 1, you don't need all the fancy bells and whistles and gear and all the things. Like, listen, I love browsing camera websites, looking at Sony, looking at Sigma, going to B&H Photo Video, going to Adorama.com, and seeing what all the new gear is out there. But when it comes to starting your photography business and taking your camera and turning that into cash by creating art for people, you can start simple. You can start as simply as having a camera and a 50mm lens. That is the lens that I would recommend you get if you're just starting out and you're not really sure what kind of lens you should invest in. A 50mm is pretty inexpensive and it creates great results. Number 2, before you start charging people for your photography services, I highly recommend doing some test shoots, especially if you feel kind of nervous or you're like, well, I'm not really sure what I'm doing, or maybe you've learned a lot of things online from YouTube or courses you've taken, but you've never really put them into practice. I would highly recommend either finding friends or family who might be interested in modeling for you for free photos and kind of working out your process of what it would look like to photograph someone. So if you want to photograph kids, maybe you have a friend or a family member with a really cute kid that you can do a test run, do a dry run. What is that going to look like? How is it going to be to navigate directing, say, a 3 or 4-year-old into sitting still or smiling for the camera, or standing still with their parents, right? So that's a really good idea to kind of test out. Now, if you want to go into something like high school seniors, I would put out a call like on Facebook or Instagram or wherever people know you, and seek out some high school seniors, and they don't actually have to be seniors. They could be younger, they could be juniors, they could be sophomores. You kind of just want to have that person in front of your camera to see how it is that you interact, so you can tell them how to pose, tell them how to stand. And I think it's just really good practice to work with a real subject instead of it just being in theory. Number 3 is, if you're going to start collecting money for your photography services, please open a business bank account. If there was like any one tip takeaway that you could take and run with and actually do and apply, it would be to open a business bank account. Now, check with your local area, your state, your county, whatever, as to how you should start a business. You can open your business bank account, but really the process is pretty simple, and there are great resources like found.com that you can open a business bank account through them, through the bank that they partner with, and it's free. There's no fees, there's no minimums, which is great for someone who is just starting out. But what you want to do is to keep your personal and business money separate from the beginning, so that you're not mixing it all up and then trying to figure out what's personal, what's business, and then it becomes a huge headache come tax time. Number 4, things are going to change as you learn and grow. So today's price might not be tomorrow's price, and that's okay. You are allowed, because you are the business owner, to change your prices. If you decide you're like, okay, this is not working for me anymore, you are allowed to change things. I remember when I first started out, I was shooting weddings, and I quickly, well, not that quickly, I realized that weddings were probably not the genre for me. And so I pivoted into high school senior portraits. And then after a time doing that, I was like, maybe this isn't for me anymore either. And I pivoted again into brand photography for businesses and entrepreneurs. And I found that that was like the sweet spot as far as niching went for my business. And my business has seen a lot of evolution over the years, and guess what? It is okay to change. It's okay to pivot. It's okay to be like, okay, no, this is not working. Let's try something else. That's to say, if you decide you want to start in weddings and you decide you don't want that anymore, it's okay to say I don't do this anymore. You don't have to be known for that one thing for forever. It can be a season, it can be a year, it can be however long you want it to be or don't want it to be. And it's your business, and that's the beauty of running your own business, is that you make the rules. And number 5 thing to know when you're starting a photography business is figuring out your pricing. If anything, what you want to be is profitable. So that doesn't mean you need to be charging X, Y, or Z. It doesn't mean that you need to be only charging $25, $50. It means that you need to be profitable. So that's going to be different for every person. That's the reason why you should never go to a competitor's website and see what they're charging and just charge the same thing, because you don't know how those numbers are made up. So the easiest thing you can do is to figure out what your expenses are, what you want your photography income to cover. So that might be a goal at this point if you haven't had any clients before, and that's totally fine. It's important to have your pricing kind of have a foundation in reality. So what does that mean? You're gonna look at your expenses. Are you paying for your website? Are you paying for like gallery software? Are you paying for editing software? What are the things that you're paying for that come for your business? And then, you know, if you're working a full-time job, maybe you're not so concerned about your personal expenses, but maybe you want to make it a goal of yours that your photography business one day funds a vacation or something like that, or, you know, funds a piece of furniture, or, you know, is like the savings account for a new car, or whatever the case may be. What you want to do from the beginning, if you can help it, is to set up pricing that's profitable. That means that once you deduct any expenses that go into the photo shoot, once you deduct your taxes, yes, you have to pay taxes, you are making a profit, and you can put that profit into your pocket instead of wondering where that money went. So if you're serious about starting a photography business, or you're in the beginning and you're like, how do I just get started? Good news is that I have a free checklist for you. They'll be down in the description. It gives you a rundown of all the things you should be thinking about when it comes to starting your photography business. And stay tuned for the next video.